transform your life. That is one of the main things that we talk about here. Those are some of our main goals here on Hey Sister by 2Q Sister. We want to talk about the ways in which we can change our thinking, in which we can change our lives, in which we can change our mindsets, definitely change our finances. So today we're going to talk about 15 things that we can do to help change our lives dramatically. And they're really simple. And I'm not going to waste your time. We're going to get right into this podcast. So let's get started. Ladies, one of the first things we can do is get out of bed. Get up early. Stop laying around till high noon. Yeah, that looks cute on the society pages. That looks cute on the housewives of wherever. That looks cute for them, but it doesn't look cute for you. Go ahead and get up. Most business needs to be held early in the morning, so we can't afford to be lying around. I'm at my most productive early in the morning. That's me. Maybe you're a night owl, whatever works for you. But it has been my observation that most wealthy people get up early and get their day started. Go ahead and get out of bed and start your day. So we can't afford to lay in bed. We have to get up and get started. Number 2, have clearly defined boundaries. Clearly defined boundaries. What do I mean? That means you need to know where you stand. You need to know what you will do and what you won't do. And you need to communicate those boundaries to others. Don't be a doormat. Don't let people take advantage of you. Learn to say no. Have clearly defined boundaries. Communicate your boundaries. When you don't have clearly defined boundaries, you end up staying late for work even though you have somewhere else to be. You end up saying yes when your partner wants to do something you absolutely hate. You end up doing a lot of things that you have no business doing because you don't have clear boundaries. A good example, several years ago, when I was much, much younger than I am now, I had a friend who loved to push my boundaries. She would just take advantage of me. So I would buy food and put it in the fridge, and she would eat up all of my food along with her food. She never replaced it. And she would tell me how good the food tasted. And I'm thinking, okay, you ate up my food. This is at the time in which I was struggling. My mom was helping to buy my food because I was going to school, trying to get an education. And she was doing things for me. And so she would help me purchase food. I would bring the food home because me and this lady were sharing an apartment. And she would eat up the food. And I was like, okay. But then she would get food, or her mom would bring her food over, and I didn't get to eat that food. Okay? And so the last straw for me was, she came by and she told me, she said, I'm going out Saturday. You're going to stay here. You're going to watch my child. And I'm going to use your car to go out to the club. And I was like, what? But she was like, yeah. And she was serious. She meant to do that. She meant to take my vehicle and go out on the town, and I stay home and babysit her child. And I said, wait a minute. I obviously have not clearly defined my boundaries. I didn't know how to tell her no. I didn't have it. So immediately the light came on and said, girl, you have to take a stand. I took a stand on that. I told her, no, I'm not keeping your child. You're not taking my car. This stops. And I didn't even waste time to find out how that was going to go over with her. I already called my mom. I said, I have to move, and I'm moving now. And so I moved out. You have to clearly define your boundaries. People are going to do to you just what you allow them to do. So you have to make sure you have clearly defined your boundaries. This one may sound a little strange, but ladies, you need to know who you are and what you stand for. So you may think you know who you are, but sometimes you have to stop and ask, who am I really? So when the lights are off, when everyone else is gone, who are you? Ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? What do I stand for? What are my values? What are my goals? What are my dreams? So once you know who you are, then you can begin to take a stand for the person that you really, really are. Guys, you might want to stop and even take some time and sit down and journal out what you want and how you plan to get it. But my fourth tip, Be consistent. Be fair. Consistency is important. I mean, we say it so much. Even on my other channel where I talk about education. Please, guys, we have to be consistent. We have to be consistent with what we want. We can't be one way today and another way tomorrow. We cannot be easily blown and shifted by the wind. We have to be consistent. Consistency is key. You have to know, people need to know with you what to expect, when to expect it. Once you are consistent, once you consistently stand up for what you believe in, then you will get much, much further. Filter your friends. We've heard this saying, I've said it before. Birds of a feather flock together. If you're hanging around negative people, they're going to cause you to be negative. You don't want that. You want people who are lifting you up, telling you that you can do it. They're positive. They're focusing on the good. And even they are brutally honest with you when they have to be. But they are not doing it in a negative or condescending way. They're doing it because they love you. So filter your friends. Take our inventory of the people you're hanging around with. There was a guy on Think Media that talked about doing the same thing. He talked about having to do inventory once, I don't remember if he said once or twice a year, on his friends. You have to stop and check out your friends, see if they are the right fit for you. So filter your friends. It's going to make all the difference in the world. The next thing I'm going to tell you to do, cut off that television. I like TV as much as the next person. Well, maybe not as much. But when we're spending all of our time watching TV, that means we're not spending that time reading. We could be spending that time on podcasts. We're not spending that time working on our goals and dreams. Now, if you're watching television and you're working on your business plan, or you're working on your Pinterest boards or something that's going to help you make some money or something, fine. If you can do that and get it done, great. But let's limit the amount of time that we spend on television. We can use that time productively, learning a new skill, learning, building something different. So let's limit our television time also. Now, this is one of my favorites. Have a plan. Know where you're trying to go and know how you plan to get there. I talked before about wanting to go to Disney. I wanted to go for at least 12 years. I talked about going. But I had no plan, no idea how I was going to get there. But amazingly, the Lord worked it out. If you don't have a plan, all you have is a wish. Okay? So we need to have a plan on how we're going to accomplish our goals. Have a plan for what you want. Number 8. Allow yourself some grace. Allow yourself grace. Forgive yourself. If you fall back on your goals, if you fall back on your dreams, if you're not as far ahead as you would like to be, if things did not go the way you wanted, maybe you messed up. You said you weren't going to drink that soda. And you did. It's okay. It's okay. Allow yourself some grace. Allow yourself some forgiveness. Forgive yourself. We all deserve grace. God allows grace. So let us allow grace for ourselves too. Allow ourselves some grace. Next, number 9. Listen to advice from others. Hey, somebody can tell you something. Don't think you know it all, because you don't. Listen to the advice from others. I had a lady that told me one time, I was trying to tell her something. She didn't want to hear anything I had to say. I said, okay, I'll cut it off. Then I promise you, she came back later. And the very thing I was trying to tell her, she told me she wished she had known. I said, well, I was trying to tell you that, but you wouldn't listen. So let's make sure that we listen to advice. I'm not saying you have to take everybody's advice, but be willing to listen. Unless it's somebody you know you can't listen to, then in that case, it's okay to shut them down. But be willing to listen to others. Number 10, be willing to compromise. You can't have it your way all the time. This ain't Burger King. You can't always have it your way. So sometimes we have to make compromises. Sometimes we have to allow another person to win or get some of what they want. So be willing to compromise. If you're a person that's willing to compromise, anybody can work with you. That's great. Number 11, get some rest. Hey, ladies, get some rest. We are not superwoman. Get some rest. Lay down and get some rest. Your body needs to recharge, re-energize. The only way it's going to do this is if you get some rest. I can talk to you from personal experience. I'm like the Duracell bunny. I like to go, 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 go. But my body is not like that. It needs to rest. And that's why I have noticed lately, since I am just constantly on the go, my immune system is not being what it should be. And so I know it's because I have not gotten as much rest as I should. So let us get the rest in which we need and stop trying to do everything for everybody. Let us be willing to share our knowledge with other people. I have said it before. I'm going to say it again. We need to share what we know. Again, hats off to Whitney Bounds, tried and true mom jobs. She have said she likes to share what she knows with the people in her group. And the group is not private. You don't have to pay no big fee to get in. She shares it. Share your knowledge. When you learn something, share it with someone else. Help someone else up. Again, whoa, Louise, hey, there's enough to go around for everybody. Steve Covey, think win-win. Guys, we should share what we know. Help your fellow sister get up. You see her over here trying to start that business, she's struggling, and you know how to do it. Don't hold that knowledge back. Don't sit here and say, well, I had to learn how to do it. True, you did. Your blessing is in your sharing with someone else. Share that knowledge with someone else. Don't hold it all back. That's the only way we're going to be able to be successful. We're not crabs in a bucket. We're not going to pull each other back or hold each other back. Channel, I talked about hush. God is trying to tell you something. But here, hush. Ladies, hush. Listen sometime. We can't learn if our mouths are always open. We have to be willing to close our mouth and listen. Let's listen sometime and stop talking absolutely so much. Number 14. See opportunities for what they are. See opportunities. You know, sometimes things happen and we don't recognize the opportunity in a lot of things because it doesn't look like what we thought it should look like. It doesn't seem like what we want. But we have to realize that in everything there's an opportunity. And it's up to us to identify that opportunity. So ask God to open your eyes and help you see the opportunity. And I hope you forgive me for mentioning God, but I am a child of God, so I'm not going to get on here and lie to you. But ask the Lord to show you and guide you to see the opportunities that are in front of you. And last but not least, my last number 15 key to success is don't dwell on failure. Don't dwell on failure. You can't sit here and spend all your time looking at what you didn't get. If you do, you're going to be stuck forever. Let's focus on what you did get. I watched the Castle. This is a show. It's the oldest show. I think it's season 4 in which his daughter did not get accepted into Stanford. And she goes to him and she's talking to him about he has his first rejection letter framed for his book. And she says, how can you stand and look at that? He explains to her that, hey, that one was followed by about 20 more. He says, I don't see it as a failure. I see it as motivation. It's what propelled me to my success. This counsel shared with his daughter the importance of moving past the failure and focusing on the future success. We cannot allow our past failures to hold us down. We cannot see our little setback at the moment to keep us from getting to where we need to be. So ladies, and even gentlemen who have tuned in, this has been 15 habits that are going to help us dramatically change our lives. So be sure that you follow these 15 things. If you have another one, be sure to drop it in the comments below or share to me which one that you are going to try. And I'll see you guys and gals in the next podcast.